Okay, so today we're talking about confidence and how to have more confidence in getting what we want in love and success. And really, it's not the confidence that we think we need. A lot of people,
Right.
when they think of confidence, they think having a really um, shiny persona that helps them look good in the world, and that's what gets you what you want. But we're talking about a deep confidence in and faith in
Hmm.
what is possible in our life.
Yes. Exciting topic and something that we all need to know,
Mhm.
especially those of us that have big dreams and we're ready to go for that big
Mhm.
dream.
And so we're going to go for about an hour. We're going to talk about some ways you can improve your confidence, and then we'll do some Q&A. So there is a Q&A box on the page here that you could fill out questions, and we're going to get to them at the end. So we'll get to that. And so if this is really going to be good for you, if you have a big dream in your life, say you're in the corporate world and you really want to break out and change careers and do something
Right.
you love,
Who
it
doesn't, right?
right? Or if you're in the corporate world and you love what you do, but you want to go further, maybe you have your own
Mm.
business, or you're wanting to go for a big promotion or up level your career, this is also going to apply to you. And we know a lot of you are single and looking for love. This is going to help you understand where you're stuck in your process for finding love, and how you
Right.
can make some really quick shifts to help you break free.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Maybe
so
we should tell them who we are.
yeah, let's talk about well, I wanted to do an intro, but with the mission is
I think our mission is really to empower people with real psychological tools,
mhm,
meaning it's based on real theory
mhm,
and some research.
mhm.
And it's not about therapy. It's not about healing. It's not about fixing yourself somehow. It's about being able to actualize yourself and create the kind of lifestyle and businesses and relationships that you want to create.
And if you think about the way I describe it to people, because a lot of
Mm.
people are like, well, why are you different?
Right.
Because, and don't I need to heal myself? And I've done all this clearing and healing my wounds. And, we have childhood issues. Don't we have to deal with those in order to find, love or to be successful? And you showed me this, actually, this line. So imagine there's like a line across the middle of a page, and that line is normal. And what most therapies, how psychology first began, is to look at where people are functioning abnormally, and what their goal was to get them up to the normal line.
Mhm.
And what we see is that not everyone is abnormal. I mean, we're all kind of different in our different ways. But if you look at someone as abnormal, the only way they can really go is to normal. That's the only
Right.
place they can go. And who wants to be normal, right? Who wants to just be normal, right? And I think a lot of you too think you've doing a lot of personal development work, and it's almost like a stigma, like I just want to be normal already, like other people that are, acting normal in the world. But above normal is our potential. And so we see you as not abnormal, as dysfunctional, as labeled as
Hmm.
wrong or bad or broken. We see you as a fully functioning person, a normal person who wants to have more in life than most people. So you're really going for the potential. And that's the difference
Yeah.
with when you listen to this class today, and you listen to any of our classes and our podcasts. We want you to know that this isn't about fixing yourself. This is about you being a normal person going to the heights of what human potential is.
Yeah, I never liked the word normal, but it's the idea of being typical,
Yeah.
typical
Or
level of
ordinary.
functioning, and normal functioning, like you say. It is the difference between a therapy and a coaching model.
Hmm.
But it's also, if you notice, and definitely when we looked around to see what was available for people, a lot of coaching models were really therapy models. They
Yes.
were trying to fix people. They're trying to heal people. So anytime you hear that those kind of words, that
Healing.
yeah, and fixing and polishing up your
or
persona.
clearing anything,
Yeah, that's
clearing your
that's
blocks.
really that's really a therapy model in
Mhm.
disguise as a coaching model.
And I remember when personally I'm passionate about this is because when I first started looking for love and reading self-help books, I really thought I was normal. I
Mm,
thought, wow, I'm a normal person. I just want to improve my life. And what happened was I started, the more work I did, there was a lot of healing and a lot of like wounds and inner child work and I felt like, oh my God, I'm really just something like it was like the more the work I did, the more broken I felt. And then I felt like it was like almost a downward spiral versus me going for my potential. And I really want to save people many, many years of trying to fix themselves and really getting what they want faster
sure.
instead of going backwards. And we tend to do that. So, what's the difference between people who get what they want
Hmm.
and people who don't get what they want? And we, we talk about this a lot. There's a lot of different reasons, but one of the main things is that people don't really have a vision or are committed to the vision of what they want. They
Right.
think they're committed, but they're really not. And we're going to talk about how that commitment relates to confidence. So there is the committed person who has a clear vision. And we talk about that they have faith in that vision and they go for that vision and nothing stops them.
Right.
There's people that
Driven.
they're so driven and they're so like believing in what they want, even in the face of adversity. That's really what I say is you're having a clear vision. You know exactly what you want. You believe you can have it and you're taking action toward
Mm,
it. So that's really the committed person. And that's where that confidence that I know I can do this. And the opposite of that is the ambivalent person. And you'll notice this if you're finding that you're having no boundaries with what you are wanting in life, you keep changing your mind. The vision is kind of fuzzy
mm.
and there's a lot of excuses of
Oh, there's
why
always
things
good
don't
excuses, right?
oh, why things don't work and you keep shifting like, well, maybe I'll have this. And from a single standpoint, when I was single, it was always like lowering my standards because I didn't really think
Well,
that
thanks
there
a
was
lot.
no, but then I hired them
Uh-huh.
again. What I got, what
Oh,
I
right,
was
right.
clear on my vision, and that's when I met you. But when I was lowering my standards, it really and didn't believe that there was someone like you out there. That's what we tend to do. The same thing with our vision with business. If we have a vision of like creating money in our life, if we don't
Right.
believe it, it's
You got to
we're going to
believe it
settle for
first.
less.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So the question for a lot of people have is, well, how do I generate that kind of certainty, that kind of
Hmm.
confidence, that clear vision of what I want? Often people don't even know what they want.
Hmm.
You ask people, well, what is it that you want? If you're unhappy in your job or your current relationship status, what would make you happy? And often they don't have an answer. They
Mm.
don't have a clear idea of what would make them happy. And so you have to start with that. And
What's that vision, right?
yeah, and there are ways to clarify that vision to get to a point where you understand it. We can think of it in terms of mindset,
Hmm.
different levels or different approaches to this mindset.
Hmm. And when we think about the clear vision, it comes down to again is what do I believe I can have? And most people don't believe they can have much. And
Right,
and
right.
why is that? It's because we look around and we've been conditioned to believe that what we've created, maybe we can have a little better life, but we never, like the people around us, most people aren't doing anything extraordinary that we know. Do you know anyone besides, well, that we know a lot of people now, but when we first started out, there weren't many people that were in our lives, like personally, that were
Right.
doing extraordinary things, like really breaking,
Well, it's
the
certainly the
boundaries.
exception more
Yeah.
than the rule. Most people simply want to be comfortable, or
Hmm.
they settle for whatever's available to them
Hmm.
instead of really formulating a vision of what their life is about and going for it, creating it.
So think about this, everyone. Write down your vision. Write down like, what is my vision? What do I want to create in 2018? What do I really want? And just notice as you write that down, your confidence in the level that you can have that. And I want you to put a 1 to 10. 1 means, maybe I'll get it. 0 is like, absolutely not. This is a
It's a
ludicrous
scientific
vision.
poll, right?
Yes. And 10 is, I'm going to get this. I'm going to do whatever it takes to get this. And just notice where you are. There's no right or wrong, but it's just really to check in with yourself to see, how much do I really believe I can
Mm.
have this? And I, it's not about like thinking positive about it. It's about this deeper, like emotional feeling that, and knowing that you can create your life. Like there's nothing, the vision is so profound, and it has such a clarity to it and a certainty that it's like it's almost having that moves every obstacle out of the way.
Right.
And you don't see obstacles. You just keep seeing that vision. And so when you think about that vision, why do we cloud it? Why do we worry about, can I have this or not? Is because we keep looking at our life and thinking, this is all I created so far. And a lot of people create a vision from maybe a little bit more.
Right. We can think of 3 stages of vision creation, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is you don't believe in anything. You don't believe it's possible. There's kind of lack of energy. There's this doubt. You don't see any possibility in your life.
Mm-hmm.
We've all been there. And again, these aren't static mindsets. The good news is we can always change them.
Yeah.
But when you find yourself there, you have to recognize that, you're there. Like you said, think about what is it that you want to create. And if you can't see possibility, if you can't see any way to move beyond your current state of affairs,
you feel kind of depressed a little bit, and you're kind of like, and maybe you have tried and it hasn't been working, or you feel this lack of,
a
like
little
you
bit
said,
of
like
learned helplessness.
Yeah. Like what's the point?
Right. And that state of mind, to get some momentum, you have to set yourself some goals, some simple goals,
small goals
that you can enact today, this week, at least this month. That is their immediate goals that you can start acting towards, and give yourself some wins. Think about, what is it that I have created in the past, and most of us have done pretty good.
And I think when you talk about the small goals, the biggest thing that trips people up in their vision is that they look for evidence of the result, or the next,
Right.
like they're so attached to the result that they try something and it doesn't work. And then that one obstacle or that one try gets them back. Like, I can't tell you how many clients I've had over the years that go online for 2 days and they say, I went online for 2 days. I didn't see anyone. I'm getting offline. Or I hated it. It triggered
Instant
me. I got to give
gratification.
up. Or I've been online for 2 weeks and I haven't met them yet. And it's that kind of looking for that immediate gratification. When we do these steps, when you're in that place of like almost giving up or not really believing, what you want to do is look at the action as a result, as a success. Every little action, even if you don't get the result you want, you start just saying, you know what, I put myself out there. Congratulate, pat yourself on the back. I did this. That's what builds confidence, because you make a commitment to your goal and your vision, and you're taking action toward it regardless of the result. And that's going to get you out of that heavy,
out of that funk.
Yeah, that funk. Because if you go in saying, I got to do these actions, and it's almost like that you want the result to bring you out of the funk. But what you have to do is take the action to bring you out of the funk, to shift your mindset around. I'm taking some small steps, because I have this bigger vision, but I have to take some small steps. And I promise you're not going to get great results right away. It's just part of the process. You're not going to get this. Well, you never know. I mean, sometimes people do like one thing and then it happens, but it's normally just a lot of little actions that lead into.
Well, this takes us to the second stage. And most of us, I'd say 90% of us are in this second stage. Most people, that if you're in that first stage of, I can't see any possibility, you probably won't even be on this call, because you're not really motivated to enact change.
Or maybe you're looking for inspiration, so you could be.
Right.
but probably not.
But
Most of you are
most
probably.
people are at the second stage where it's about doing,
Hmm.
and you're already doing things. You're
Hmm.
already trying uh, to the point where you might be exhausted
Yeah.
because you've been trying and trying and doing and doing. And it's this mindset of action.
Hmm.
I got to take more action. Or they think if I can find the right kind of action, if I can find the right dating site, if I can find the right business partner, if I can find the right
The right
strategy,
clients.
yes. And that it drives you to keep on going and to keep on searching and trying different things. Now, there's nothing wrong with this mindset. It's one of
It's kind
uh,
of very active,
very
right?
active. Most people,
Go for it.
yeah, most people think that that's all there is. If I try harder and if I find that right solution, I'll make it.
That's what a lot of people call high performance. The masculine do go for your dream. Just keep pounding the pavement.
Absolutely.
But it's very it can be very, if it's a good stage, but if you stay there too long and you don't have you're not really aligned with your vision, it's almost like you're spinning your wheels to
You're
the point,
chasing your tail
chasing your
basically
tail. Yeah.
because you keep getting the same results,
Hmm.
and you think I'm not trying hard enough.
Hmm.
So it's feeding back to your mind that there's still something missing and I got to
Hmm.
find it. But notice that the mindset is focused externally.
Hmm.
It's trying to find something outside of the mind, out there somewhere. Somebody's going to give me the answer, the secret.
Yeah. The
Uh,
secret.
if I find the right person, they're going to make me happy,
Hmm. If
and
I get the right amount of money, I can
yeah,
relax.
the right
So we're
car.
looking externally for an internal feeling. We're looking externally. I want to say that again because it's how we're conditioned. The ordinary person, the normal person, is conditioned that out there something happens and then I feel something.
Yeah,
And so we think that if we get those goals, that's what we're going to get
absolutely.
that feeling. But you're already coming from an empty place of I don't have that feeling yet. It's
Right.
outside of me. And so that's the chasing the tail.
I got to run
I've got to
faster.
run toward it. The faster I run, that carrot's still out there, and
Yeah,
you're never getting it. And even like I've seen people that reached very, very high levels of success, but they're exhausted. And because they are in that middle mindset stage, level 2, which is more rushing, a lot of action, but exhaustion.
absolutely. And just a word about mindset.
What is
Well,
mindset?
yeah, what we mean by mindset is that it's the way we see the universe working,
Hmm.
and it boils down to everything. It's the way we see opportunity. It's the way we see ourselves in the world and what's possible.
It's not
Now,
just thinking positive.
no, no. Mindset is the unconscious, the unspoken assumptions that we're making about ourselves, and how the world works, and what's possible for us.
Hmm.
Now, it's unconscious, meaning most of the time we haven't examined it. We haven't looked at really what is my mindset? What do I really believe is possible for me? And that's a mistake because as long as we don't examine it, we're not able to change it.
Hmm.
We're stuck. So the third, you want to go to the third or
Yes. Yes, let's
the
go.
third stage, which is really where we want to go and where we want to be.
Hmm.
Instead of the no possibility, no energy, no motivation,
The second level is I have to work really hard to get what I want.
and instead
And
of
it's
the
hard and
chasing our
confusing.
tail and getting exhausted and trying to find the right solution, the right job, the right space for us, the third level is very distinct. Here we realize that it's our mindset that's creating the opportunities.
Mm. We
And
understand that we're creating
that's right.
what's inside of us is creating out there. Not we have to get that to come back here
Yeah.
to put it in. I need to put that money in my mind and put it in my bank account, and then I'll feel
Yeah.
good.
Which is a reactive
Mm.
mindset that in that second
Yeah.
stage. In the third stage, we understand that the mind is the cause of our lives. That
Hmm.
is, everything we're seeing, everything we're experiencing, the level of success, the types of relationships that we have is derived from the mind. Now, that's a very powerful perspective. When we gain that perspective, when we understand that principle, we relax. There's a clarity. It's like the clouds parting, and we see the sunshine. The light enters the mind, because that's the reality of things. We are surrounded by infinite potential.
Hmm. We are infinite potential.
Absolutely. And as long as we don't see that, as long as we're caught up in the do of the rat race,
Hmm.
we can't see that.
And I see those lower two levels. They're important because we have to go through those stages. I mean, they
Yeah.
affect us. And there are times when we have that like clear mindedness, and then we just kind of feel down, and we drip back into lethargy and like, I don't know, I'm kind of, uh, I need to kind of take a break. And then because sometimes we do get, even in the clear state, obstacles show up. And sometimes we aren't seeing when we're in that clear state, and we fall backwards again. We can go through the stages again, levels. So it's not like once you get to the third level, you're there all the time. It's almost like you just notice where you're at every day, and then the more you're in that higher level,
Right.
the more you're going to sustain it. It's almost like a habit to be there, but you will drop back down again. So those levels are great. But the clear vision, it really comes from understanding the nature of reality, because
Absolutely.
it's not like, who am I, little Debbie, little Rob, going out there in the world and making this big change. Because if we look at our personal history, we think, well, we've never done that before. There's no one in our family who's had something like this. I've never met anyone who's a spiritual, beautiful man. And why would he like me? That kind of
Mm.
mind. But it's having that, I am creating my reality. I am everything I see out there is a reflection of what's inside me. So if I can shift what's inside me, I'll see a different reflection. That brings the power back. So when you're in that higher level, that's where you start to really, it's, I think in the second level, you kind of know it a little bit, but you're not really believing it. So you're still taking a lot of action. But when you're in that third level, it's almost like, oh, I get it now. I get it. Like something clicks in with you. And the more you get into that higher level stage, the more you're going to use it and be in that, then drop back again. But it's like kind of
Yeah.
like you see glimpses of it and then we forget. And how I do it is I of course I read like Eastern philosophy, and I have teachers that have and help me understand the nature of reality, like understanding that it's more than just thinking positive and just believing. It's really asking ourselves those tough questions of, what is real? Who am I? And
Absolutely.
understanding your own psyche too, and understanding when you're in your ego's patterns versus
Right.
really coming from your true self.
Yeah, and I think a characteristic of that clarity, the mindset of clarity, is that it allows you to use the challenges that arise on your mission,
Hmm.
on the path to creating your dreams. You use the what most people would call stumbling blocks or obstacles. You learn to use those to your advantage,
Yes.
because they provide you and give you the information of what is in my mindset, what is in
Hmm.
my unconscious mind that I can't see.
Hmm.
Those things that appear to resist or to stop you are really giving you great information about what you can't see. In other
Hmm.
words, they're becoming visible
Hmm.
through the obstacles. So Joseph Campbell says, where you stumble, there's your treasure.
Hmm.
And
Yes.
that's what he means, is that the things that appear to stop you, to be in your way, are going to give you the treasure, to the key to the kingdom,
Hmm.
to your mission, to creating the kind of life that you want.
And it's easy to, this is really where true confidence comes in, because like I said, you're not building up your ego. You're not having confidence in your ego. You're having confidence in the deeper part of yourself, the divine part of yourself that is that potential. that's where the confidence comes from. It doesn't come from you saying the right things and presenting yourself the right way. It comes from you knowing on a deep level that you are pure potential, pure
Absolutely.
consciousness,
Yeah.
pure
Yeah.
bliss, all those beautiful things that the Eastern philosophy tells us that we are. And again, it doesn't come from just knowing it intellectually. It comes from actually going for what you want and not giving into the obstacles, and then seeing the obstacles give way as we hold the vision. Because if we hold the vision strong enough, the obstacle must give way. It cannot stay there. The only reason obstacles are there is because we believe they're obstacles and we
Hmm.
don't use them. And then we let that shut door shut us down, and then we
Yeah.
go into a different route. And so what are some of the reasons why we can't see our potential? Why do we feel blocked from seeing them?
Yeah, I think the biggest reason, like Socrates said, the unexamined life is not worth living. It's that if you don't examine your mindset,
Hmm.
what are the basic assumptions that I'm making about myself, my place in the world, and how life works? How does the world work? How does the universe function? If you don't examine those things, you're not able to change them. You're not able to consciously make choices about how you want to see the world.
Hmm.
And are you basing those assumptions on something real, or just something somebody taught you, and
Hmm.
or things you assumed from your childhood, your interaction with parents, with teachers, with siblings and peers. And most of the time, most people, I guarantee you, have never examined that part of their mind.
Hmm.
Why? Because it's invisible to us most
Hmm.
of the time. It's this underlying invisible assumption that we're making about ourselves and the universe. But there are ways to examine them. There are
Hmm.
ways to get at what is it that I really believe, and how do I see my place in the universe, and what's possible for me.
And Carl Jung talks about the individuation process. And what it does, and that's what we teach, is that the ego that we're all conditioned to be is just a part of us, and it isn't as solid as we think it is, but we give it so much. Most people, it basically clouds everything in our life. It thinks for us, it sees limitations, it blinds us really to what is possible. And through the individuation process, we start to understand that there's another part of us besides the ego. We start to see these other elements of our psyche that we have access to, and they're all that power within us. And so it's really about stepping outside of that ego, and that's the hard part. Is the ego doesn't want you to let go of it, and so the real trick is, think about the ego as it's committed to our survival. It's committed to us staying in the status quo, to be basically run the program that it created for us early in life. But around midlife, around 35, maybe 30s for some people, maybe a little older, around 40,
I think I was
we kind
19.
of have this kind of feeling. And yeah, it's different for everyone, but on average, it's like about 35. We start to say, I want something more. And this is what we see with a lot of our clients, the people we work with over the years, is that they come to us for love.
Mm.
And then they say, but I kind of want more than just love. I have these dreams, and I've always wanted to do something different.
Right.
And so the process in itself just really creates something more unexpected than you believe.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
you have to do more than just think of your vision and then write it down and then go for it and hope that everything works out. You really do need a process for you to understand the ego and how the ego's processing what it's seeing in the world, so you can have that kind of higher level of mindset. So through the process of individuation, you actually go to that higher level and you see things as clear as they are. And it's a beautiful process. We've been talking a lot about our program Evolve for next year. And really, it's for women only. It's for women that have big dreams, that want to really change the kind of relationships they're attracting, the men in their life, and or women if they like that, and also really make a commitment to that big goal. And what really, for me, builds confidence is being committed to something. And the number one thing, the aspect that changed for me from going on that
Mm.
second level to going to the third level is having a coach, having
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
accountability, because you cannot do this on your own. You can't, your ego will keep you, give you the excuses, keep you in ambivalence. When you have accountability of a group like we have in this program and coaches like us, you are actually committing, and you're having someone else who's already achieved a lot of what you want holding the vision with you. So that does something, it's like downloads into your mind and actually helps you get to that higher state faster than you trying to do it on your own.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the challenge of the mind is such a daunting task. It is like swimming against the current.
Mhm.
Not only is there internal resistance, like you're saying, the ego wants us to stay in the status quo, stay in
Mhm.
our safety comfort zone, but there's also everyone around us. The majority of the people around us are not going for their big dream.
Mhm.
They're invested in staying in their comfort zone.
So you can have faith in failure and status quo, or you can have faith in your vision. You're either one or the other.
Yeah.
You're not on, there's no middle ground.
Yeah.
And
So
that's why you have that, to have, to commit to something is really that, is stating that faith that I'm going to make this.
right. And to be able to change the mindset that is invisible for most people does require that laser focus,
Mhm.
and a coach is invaluable. We
Mhm.
could not have done any of our work really without our coaches.
I remember the first 6 months when I started my hypnotherapy practice. I had some friends that were helping me. I did some networking and I was doing okay. I was, just making it. And then I hired my first coach. And within that year, hiring her, I went to six figures in a hypnotherapy practice, which people were like, wow, how did you do that? And I met you. It helped shift a lot in me just by in 1 year, after decades of doing self-help on my own, trying to do workshops here and there, like disjointed. It was like finally committing and being consistent. And that's another thing. A lot of people think that they just need to do a little bit and then everything falls into place. And there's a lot of people in the personal development stage that do that kind of promotion, like,
Yeah, the easy.
overnight. Yeah. You just dream away and everything's going to be fine. But real big success, like having like the man of your dreams, the woman of your dreams, the life of your dreams, is a long-term process. It's not just, and not that it's long-term to get that, but it's not overnight, and it's a consistency of continuing to expand your mind and understand your mind and grow. And that is really the difference. And a lot of
Hmm.
people, I think, are too impatient, and that impatience inhibits their success. They
Well,
try a
I
little
think the
bit and then they
impatience
give
is,
up, and then
yeah, the
they.
impatience is often an excuse.
Mm,
This was one of the things I heard over and over is it'll take too long. It's going to take too long, and
mhm,
I want the results right now.
mhm,
But if you don't do anything, you're going to stay and get the same results over and
mhm,
over, and the time is going to go by, and by the end of those 2 or 3 years that you're going to invest, you're still going to be in the same place.
mhm,
Whereas if you go for it, by the end of those 2 or 3 years, you're going to be somewhere completely different,
mhm.
much closer to your vision, really creating the kind of life that you want to live. It's the difference between day and
One
night.
year, 1 year. I didn't say the first 2 months, I didn't meet my man yet, or I didn't make $1 million yet. It was 1 year I dedicated to changing my life and having someone personally helping me, accountability, and having the tools and understanding. And really, that's where I learned Eastern
Right.
philosophy. I really got the non-dual idea of non-judgment and not looking things as bad or wrong and not looking at myself as needing to be fixed. Everything changed in that 1 year. And
What's another excuse that we often hear? The money
I
one.
don't have money. Yeah,
Yeah.
the money, like I'm not going to get the ROI. A lot of people look for ROI. It's like So
Return on investment.
yes, and when we work with our training, our coaches, and over the years, and at our last meeting, I had them write down all the things that have changed in their life since they did this work, and they wrote all these things down. And I said, well, how much is that worth to you?
Hmm.
And they all were, they couldn't put a number on it. They were, this is priceless. To find the love of my life after being single for 20 years or 10 years, to have a business I love, to find my purpose, like, what is that worth to you? And for some people, it's not really, they don't want to invest in themselves, and they'll keep going. But we're really talking to those of you who really want to commit to something and want to change their life, and are willing to invest and are willing to make this a priority,
Yeah.
because people will spend money on things that they prioritize in their life. So if it's not a priority for you to have nice shoes, you're not going to go out and spend $1,000 on Jimmy Choo shoes. You're going to, go to the
They cost that
shoe.
much?
Yes, more than that. I think I'm
Oh,
probably understating it. If you value personal development, you're going to invest in the best of the best. You're
yeah.
not going to do the small little work. And again, this isn't for everyone. This program Evolve is for people that are really committed. And what you do is you apply and you get a consult with me. So you get to talk to me personally, and we'll talk about your goals. And I will honestly not let you in or not take your money if you're not really, it's not right for you. Like,
Yeah.
it's really for people that are ready to commit, have the resources to commit, that it's not going to cause a problem in their life,
Yeah.
that they're going to, we're
Yeah.
not out for that.
Yeah, it's more finding the right match.
Yes.
The right people really create a great community, a great
Hmm.
group that can nurture each other.
Yes.
So it's not just us teaching you, but learning from each other, being part of a community,
Hmm.
going to great places. Like I think we're going to
We're going to Lisbon, Portugal.
Lisbon. Yeah.
We're going to be having an event here in Hermosa Beach in LA. We have another event in New York City. So and then also we're doing people that sign up this week. The early price is ending this week, so please apply this week. We have a money breakthrough weekend, a 2-day money breakthrough weekend, where we're going to talk about your money shadow and what's going on unconsciously around money. And it's not really to manifest money, but it's more about how to have a better relationship with it. Because even people that have millions, they don't understand their money shadow, and it really inhibits their joy in success. So that is also a part of what we teach, and that's going to be a bonus. We're charging $2,500 per person for that weekend, but if you join the Evolve program, you actually get that as a bonus. So
Nice. Yeah, we haven't done anything on that topic in a while, and we look back the last time we did it, we got some great people from
yes,
that
yes,
that course that we
some
did.
great breakthroughs, and really a lot of shifts. And what really, we do want you to be successful. So one of the, if this isn't right for you, if we're not the right coach for you, you need a coach. You need someone to assist you, to hold your hand, to keep you accountable. And it is the fastest way to grow. It may feel like I could do it on my own. A lot of people have that kind of a need to do it on their own.
Yeah, I had that for a
They
long
don't want
time.
help. They don't want to be helped. They feel like there's something wrong with them if they ask for help. It's actually very courageous to say, I need you to hold my hand. I need you. I
Yeah,
need this.
but and I don't see it so much as help, but more of collaboration.
Yeah.
You're
And guidance. Yeah.
collaborating with people that have done what you want to do already. They've
Mm-hmm.
you published books, you've created great businesses, you've traveled the world, you've everything, right? You've had success in relationships. So you want people that have already been there,
Yes.
not just talk the talk, but have walked that walk.
And I've been in
To use a
the corporate
cliche.
world. I know what it's like to go cold turkey and start a business. I know what it's like to raise my rates and ask for the money I deserve for my services. People asking for raises or going for that big promotion. All those things is what Evolve is about. It's really a journey that we're taking you on to move through that resistance of
Right.
holding that vision, and whatever shows up, you're going to use to grow. And
Mm.
as you grow, you get more confidence. you get more, you're shifting your confidence basically from the confidence in the ego and fear and doubt to confidence in your vision. And that's really that shift is what happens. Now, a lot of people think, oh, wow, that sounds like, how am I ever going to hold that vision in my mind? I have so much noise. I want to relieve your mind a little bit and say that you just need to believe a little bit more than you doubt. It's that tipping point, that 51%. If you believe in a little bit more than you doubt, that's when everything changes. And it could be just a 1% shift for you. You maybe believe 50-50 right now, like half and half. It's just like kind of that
Nudging
tipping
it
point
one, yeah.
that moves everything. And it's like, it's a very small shifts create big changes. And the ego resists those tiny shifts. So it's not a lot of heavy lifting as much as uh, really getting at what is in the way of you
Yeah.
getting what you want.
And people often tell us this once they get into it, that this is the most interesting thing that you can do in your
Yeah.
life.
To know yourself,
To know
understand.
yourself, to really understand your dreams, and what is your mission here? Why are you here? You right?
Who am I?
Yeah, who are you? And what is the meaning of all this
Mm-hmm.
this experience that we call our life?
Mm-hmm.
It's an incredible journey, no doubt. And
Yes, and really it comes down to understanding your psyche and what's going on in your mind more than just your thinking. I know there's a lot of programs out there for the limiting beliefs. That's not what we do. Those are kind of, they're good entry points. They're good level, like that's for level one. Like this work is really when you're ready to go deeper, and the dream work that we do, your dreams are going to show you where you're stuck, what you can do to change, what you need to work on, what your attitude is. It's going to reflect back. The people that you meet are going to reflect your shadow. We work on the shadow, and there's so much depth and knowledge that you're going to receive about yourself that you can't not have faith,
right.
because the direct experience that you have working with your own mind is really what gives you that courage. It's not just about believing because we tell you you can have what you want, but just believe. It's great, but you need to understand yourself and have that direct experience. And for me, when I would look at my dreams and I would be stuck in somewhere and like in my life, and or kind of like when I was getting my book from Wiley, before I got that book deal, I had a dream, and I saw that the editor from Wiley handed me the book, like, or took my book from me, or in a vision, and I was like, oh, okay, well, they're going to be my publisher. Like, we can access our intuition and this deeper part of ourselves that transcends space and time, and it's not something woo woo. It's actually something very psychological that happens, is that we're connected to something that's so much bigger than who we think we are. And to have access to that mysticism and that magic is really just changes your life. And from those moments of having that experience, that's what gives me the confidence to create. It
Yeah.
really is that confidence that, oh, I'm much more than just the surface self that I thought I was.
Yeah, we're certainly getting to an interesting point in history where we see Eastern philosophy joining up with physics, Western physics, science, social neuroscience, depth psychology, all coming together. And I think we're the first generation to have all this information. The question has been, how do we put it together and how do we use it in a practical way? And that's been our mission,
Mm-hmm.
giving people practical ways to use this incredible information that's available to us now to create incredible lives and to affect change in the world. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's so much needed. We need everybody
We need everyone to
on,
be happy and positive
yeah,
instead of
and
negative and divided.
absolutely, and creating their vision,
Mm-hmm.
because everyone is here for a purpose,
Mm-hmm.
but they need the tools, they need the inspiration, they need the ability to create those things.
Mm-hmm. So before we go to questions, we want to just have you think about your vision again. Think about what that vision is, and see if you can stretch it a little bit. See if you can make it even bigger. So, and notice if you kind of how much you thought you can accomplish. And if you stretch it a little bit, just notice like what you think you can have. And then again, now I want you to, after you heard us speak a little bit, do you believe a little more? Is that number 1 to 10? Do you believe in your vision just a little more than you did when we first started? And remember that anything that you can have an idea in your mind, any vision in your mind, is a sign of possibility.
Mm.
There's a quote, I can't remember exactly, but it says that the vision is unexpressed, is the divine potential. When you have an image in your mind, or a vision or a desire, is really a sign that you can have that. We wouldn't have a desire if we didn't have the means to accomplish it. And so all those things that we desire, we call them fantasies when we're coming from our ego. We think, yeah, that's a great fantasy. One day I'll be a millionaire. I'll have a tropical island. I'll have the man of my dreams or the woman of my dreams. And, I'll win the lottery one day. They're fantasies if you're an ego. They're visions if you're coming from that higher place, that level 3 mindset. That level 3 mindset is going to have, oh yeah, I could be a millionaire. I could have a book published. I mean, people told me all the time that you're never going to get published, Debbie. You don't have a psychology degree. You're a hypnotherapist, and you probably have to self-publish. No one's going to publish you. I got a publishing deal with the largest nonfiction publisher in the world, Wiley. And people still ask me, how did you get that deal? And it's because of this work. It's because I had that vision. I was unstoppable. One of my friends, actually, we went to a dinner party, and she had a bunch of people over, and we were talking about dreams, and she gave a book to everyone at the party that represented what she believed about that person. And the book she gave me was Unstoppable. And that's really what the vision is having that. It's not a fantasy. It's not a nice, well, maybe I can have it. It's not that ambivalence of, I'd like it, but I really don't believe. It's that I am so certain I'm getting this, that you will take action, and you're not in that rushy, hurried stage. It's that patience, that perseverance, and that trust in your true nature and who you are that's going to get you what you want. And that's what we're about, helping you get there. So if you're interested in Evolve, you've received some emails. If not, we'll send a replay of this video so you could apply. And please apply this week. There's only a couple spots left, and we're going to close it up, and then we're going to have our great group. And we hope if a vision of something bigger in your life is something you want to have, this would be a great process for you to get into. And if you've done our work before, this is just going to take it even deeper. Okay, so
any questions?
Yes, we do. I've been dating a great guy for about 10 months now, and see that we will be doing things I want to do together, like hiking adventures and national parks, learning and growing spiritually together. I'm struggling to decide if it's the time to part and look for someone else. I feel he is set in his ways. Would this be a good judgment, or would that be a reflection of my own shadow? It's hard to tell. I want to end the relationship, not wanting to hurt the best guy I ever dated. Well, I would look at, you want to do things together, like hiking and learning and growing spiritually. The hiking and those things, you could do with friends. But if spirituality is a part, have you talked to him about this? Have you asked him? A lot of times you'd be surprised how people will change, or will want to grow, step into that if you want to grow. And then the shadow would be that, why, are you afraid to be alone? Are you afraid this is the last person on earth, and that you're just going to have to settle? It sounds like you don't want to settle, but I think the part of that, the things that he's missing are reflecting something in you.
Right. Everything reflects back something about our mind.
Mm-hmm.
And both good and bad. There is actually no good and bad. It's just simply what's there.
Yes.
So whatever you're experiencing, think about the emotion that it pulls from you. Is it fear? Is it doubt? Is it, like you say, settling, or not getting what you want, not being heard? And then you use that to examine yourself, your own mind. Because remember, this principle, it's the hardest one to get. But once you get it, it's the key to creating your life, that the source of what you experience is your own mind. So that experience with that in this relationship, simply reflecting your own mind,
Hmm.
your own mindset, what you believe is possible,
Hmm.
uh, what you think you deserve. All those things are in that situation. It's an
Hmm.
incredible thing. Most of us have such a hard time believing that, but it's the key to understanding yourself and your place in the universe.
Okay, so that's great. Yeah, so I would look at what's the feeling that you have around those, the lack of spirituality or the things that are missing. What's that feeling reflecting back?
Yeah, and she asks, is that my shadow? Most definitely, it's
Mhm.
part of your unconscious mind.
How do you come from that higher place and change your fantasies to visions and creations? Well, we kind of, I think this was an earlier question.
Hmm.
We talked about it. It really comes from
So, what's
you.
the question?
How do we come from that higher place in changing our fantasies to visions?
Right. Well, fantasies are important because they're
Or
like the
start it. Yeah.
seeds. They're like the seeds of our vision and our higher purpose.
Hmm.
So the way you change them is to take them seriously,
Hmm.
to really examine what lights me up, what
Hmm.
excites me about my fantasies. There must be some reason why they're coming up and why they persisted.
Hmm.
So you invite them in and you ask
Hello.
them, yeah, come on in, tell me more about what is exciting about this. And then you'll start to get a sense of, what is this talking about as far as my purpose,
Hmm.
is what I find enjoyable and exciting about this fantasy. Then you can use some of those elements to create your vision.
And the vision is, again, comes down to it turns automatically into a vision when you realize that you can create it.
Yeah.
A fantasy is really coming from ego, is I'd like to, like, kind of like an escape. I'd like to figure, get somewhere, but I know I'll never get there. Versus, I have a dream that's, I want to make it real. And it comes down to really understanding that you create your life, and how that process works is through individuation, through seeing that you're not the ego, and that is a process. It's hard because we're ego so hardwired in us. Another thing too about the lower levels of the mindset is that the two lower levels of
Mm,
are more ego based. They're,
absolutely.
you're
Yeah.
you're giving up. You're looking at the external, saying this is the reality out here. This is what the results I'm seeing right now is what's true. In both the level one and level two, when you're rushing to, you're saying, okay, I'm not seeing the result yet. You're kind of a little in fear still. When you get to the third level, that clarity, you start to believe in your vision more than what you see out there. So your vision is actually, you have so much faith in this that it doesn't matter that there's obstacles. It's like, oh yeah, okay, there's another obstacle. Let me work with it. It's part of the process of me becoming, but I see that vision. I see that vision. And it's that never giving up, that unstoppability that really creates.
Very
So,
powerful mindset.
so it really is not just thinking positive and how to hold my vision. It's about individuation. It's about individuating away from your ego and
Yeah.
becoming who you really are. That's what's going to shift.
Fulfilling
It's not
your
just like,
yeah,
oh,
your true
meditate in a
purpose.
certain way, or hold your vision or hold the feeling in a certain way. It's really much deeper than that. But then what happens is that you learn how to create one vision, and then you basically have the tools to the kingdom, because then you start to really understand the nature of reality, and everything starts to become easier in your life.
Yeah, that's interesting. A lot of people who came to us for love and relationships ended up finding their purpose,
Yes.
and vice versa.
Yeah.
A lot of people that came for purpose, once you know who you are, it's like the universe knows who to match you up with.
Hmm.
And once you know your purpose, it fits right in with finding the right match for you.
Yeah, including, if you're a coach, or in a service-based industry, if you know, or any kind of company that if you know who you are, your clients and customers will reflect that. Will know the universe will know what the right clients and customers to match you up with. And a lot of people undervalue themselves. They have Walmart level prices for their services, and they feel like they're never going to make a lot of money. and it's because they don't value who they are, so they charge little money. And um and then then again then they're in that kind of pattern. Well, I can't invest in myself because I don't have
Mhm.
enough money. If they would just charge a little more and believe in themselves, it would create a new pattern of being and abundance in their life, and a new level of clients that they would get. Okay, I've had several dreams that didn't seem to be possible, that I had to choose one. But after your session today, my mind expanded to include them all under one larger vision. That's possible. That's great.
Good
Thank
for
you. I'm
you.
looking forward to when two of you will be my personal coaches. Great session today. You're welcome. Well,
Awesome.
hopefully that will be soon. Can I create for someone else? If my mom needs something, an apartment, and she's not able to create that for herself, can I create it for her? Good question. Dr.
Mm.
Rob?
Well, it depends what you mean by creating it for her.
Mm.
You can certainly become abundant in your own life to where you're able to give her an apartment and buy her an apartment. If that's what you mean, absolutely,
Mm.
yes. Now, can you, let's say, motivate her to create it for herself? That's a different question.
Because
If
everyone has free will. So,
Yeah, if she's open and she's at the point where she wants to learn and transform her life, absolutely. It's never too late. My grandma used to say, it's only too late when you're 6 feet under. As
she
long
was so
as
positive.
as long as there's one more day to live, you
Hmm.
can do things, you can create things. So there's always hope for people.
But don't you think that when you create for someone else, it's I mean, it's good to have good feelings and good intentions and hope and
Yeah.
like wish people well. But in a way, it kind of steals the person's ability to create on their own. Like
Mhm.
you're basically not having faith that they can create what they want on their own.
Yeah, that's part of it. It just depends on the situation and the
Mm-hmm.
person.
Mm-hmm.
You do have to consider that. Are you robbing them of their own ability
Mm-hmm.
to see their power?
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes it, what we see and what we experience is inspiring us
Mm-hmm.
to be abundant. And it's saying, what if you could just give her an apartment and buy her an apartment? Right? It opens up the mind to what's possible.
Yeah.
And if you think, well, that's not possible, then you work with that. Why
Mm-hmm.
is it not possible?
Mm-hmm.
Why am I limiting myself to limitation and saying, that's the way the world is? It's because of that underlying
Mm.
unconscious mindset.
Yeah.
So it
I
gives us that opportunity to work with that.
I can be cleaning the kitchen and with a sinking feeling, and then switch to clearing my closet, and that feeling of momentum surges because this work brings me closer to my dream. How do I balance responsibility that doesn't bring that feeling with those things and bring that feeling of momentum? I see everything that you do, you can put your vision to, even
Yeah.
if it's, cleaning the bathrooms or cooking dinner or, going to the dentist, like all the things that we are like, all that is part of you having, you can find a way to connect that to your vision. And a lot of it, the things that you'd have to do are really to sustain your body and sustain your life. So working out and eating healthy, all those things you can dedicate to your vision, because a healthy body, healthy mind is going to help me live my vision. So everything, having a clean place, having things organized, everything is towards your vision. A lot of people that we work with, sometimes they don't like the marketing, and they want to just work with clients. They want to do their coaching, but they don't like really do all the marketing tax. They're like, oh, I can't wait to hire someone to do this for me. But it's like having fun, dedicating all of that action toward your vision. It'll lift it up. So resent nothing. Be happy you're alive. Like Rob said, 6 feet under. There's one day that the last day on earth is going to be like, God, I wish I can get up and clean the kitchen today. Like, just be happy, find that joy in being alive. I think that will bring that
Hmm.
momentum back in.
It's all about intention. If we intend every action to serve the higher purpose, then nothing is wasted.
Hmm.
Even at taking the trash out and washing the
Yeah.
dishes, it's all part of it.
Uh, I moved to Europe last year to complete a master's degree in business. I find myself stuck not knowing what to do next. I already got a few rejections. I'm almost 40 and worried that I haven't built a career. I don't have a man or even friends, and I'm in debt. I meditate, which helps me relax, but I'm not emotionally stable. So it sounds she's in like level 3, right? I mean, level 1, that kind of Tama,
Well, she's taking a lot of action,
yeah,
so
but
she's
getting a little
yeah, yeah.
like
You
caught
don't
up
want
in
to
it.
start falling downward,
Hmm.
but the first shift that you have to make in your mindset is consider this an opportunity.
Hmm.
And because it's not that we're overlaying this making the best of a bad situation. No, it's that it really is an opportunity for you to go deeper into your mindset and to change everything about what you've been experiencing, to find success, to put all that knowledge that you've gained through your degree to work in an incredible way. So consider that first. Can I see this as an opportunity? Can I really see this as an opportunity? Because when we're given these, when we reach these points of, they're like pain points or places in our life,
Challenges.
yeah, where everything is up in the air,
Hmm.
nothing is settled, and we feel like we're starting over.
Hmm.
Those are the best opportunities that we get, because now we can reinvent ourselves completely.
And you don't want to, so again, you're looking at the external results, the past results, the current state, and thinking this is all there is. So you keep like kind of creating that negative feedback loop. When I was laid off from my job, I was engaged to be married. We broke the engagement. 1 week later, I was laid off from my job, and I had to sell the place we lived. I was homeless, manless, and jobless at that time, and really, like, my whole life was turned upside down. And I remember just thinking, I remember picking up actually Power of Now with Eckhart Tolle way back when that book came out 20 years ago. And that simple book said, you're either thinking about the past or fretting about the future. You're never really in the moment. And the whole book, that's all it said, basically, over and over and over. But what I realized is where I was right now is I didn't have a vision for my future yet, but I knew I couldn't go back. So all I had was this moment, and I had like almost like a clean slate to create something new. And that's when a good friend of mine graduated from coaching school, and she said, "Can I practice on you?" And worked with my very first kind of experiences coaching. And she inspired me to go to hypnotherapy school. And that's what started everything for me. So never believe that there, where you're at is really a dead end. Think of it as a new beginning. It's not a dead end. It's almost like if you haven't even started on something yet, that means there's many potentials. So when those rejections come in, think, shift your mind around it. Like, don't react to it the same way. Don't get all caught up in it like I'm never going to find it. One quick thing to do is just cultivate a vision in your mind, not just meditate and calm your mind, because that's nice, but it doesn't really do anything else but
Mhm.
calm you in the moment. What you want to do is reach for that vision. Reach for that vision. See your debts being paid. See you're in the field that you love, and that genius that you have to give to the world, that gift that you have, and start generating that feeling. That's going to actually get you into more of that clear vision in the mind. And also, like, our work is really great for you to understand what the shadow is around that, around
Yeah.
money and those type of things. So we do, if Evolve isn't right for you, we do have other programs. So we can always get you a free consultation with our coach, Teresa. And if you're interested, anyone who wants to talk to Teresa, she can kind of see where you're at and give you an assessment, and give you the right program to help you where you're at. But we really hope you go for the Evolve, because it's going to be a fantastic year-long journey. I have another question for you, Dr. Rob. How do people change around us when we changed our mindset and we start to have more success in our lives?
It is very much like chemistry
Mm.
or alchemy. when when you change one element, the way it interacts with the other elements changes.
Mm.
It's a different dynamic. So whoever, as you change, as you evolve, did you like that plug?
Yes, I like that.
As you evolve, the people that can continue to fit your new mindset and continue to nourish that, and to see that you're growing and are okay with that, will stay in your life. They'll
Mhm.
persist. The people that don't, that say, wait a minute, you told me you were somebody else, now you're changing and you're evolving into something new, will simply drop away.
Mhm.
And we have to be willing to let them go, and with the understanding that, well, they'll come back if it works out and if it's meant to be. But the best thing you can do for the world, the best thing you can do for yourself, your family, your friends, everyone, regardless of whether they fit or not, is to make the most of yourself. When you do that, you are fulfilling your higher purpose.
It is really amazing when I had my everyone knew me as Debbie, the hopeless romantic. There was never in a relationship. And when I started doing my work and started really teaching personal
Mm.
development, it was interesting. My friends had a nickname for me. It used to be Debbie, the happy hour girl. They started calling me the Debbie Llama, and it really was. They started to see me differently and
Yeah.
started to be inspired. And when I got out of hypnotherapy school, the first thing I did was email all my friends and say, "Hey, does anyone want to get hypnotized?" And everyone responded, and I got to have introduced them to this work and to understand their unconscious. And really truly, there's people that won't follow, think that what you're doing is great or resist it, and that, but you'll be surprised at the people that really believe in you. And my dad, even, I never thought he really understood what I did or cared about my book coming out. And at his funeral, everyone came up to me and said how proud of him, how proud of me he was. And that really touched my heart. It's like, wow, like, you will impact people around you. They will be inspired by what you say. And I could tell you that I probably sent about 50 people to that hypnotherapy school just by, clients that have had success, and they're like, wow, like, I should do that. And then people do, now that we do our coach training, people
Mhm.
have said, like, I want to do what you do. And so it changes people's lives by you being bigger than you were before. And it's really amazing. It really can change. And
Yeah.
you find new people too sometimes to hang out with.
Yeah, and the fears that arise out of you stepping into your higher power, we use those as fuel for the process.
Hmm.
And it's an incredible thing we all have fears about stepping into bigger roles.
Hmm.
It's part of our nature, but we learn to use those things to gain more insight into our nature.
Great. Let's see. Any more questions? Um, Debbie, you said you thought, oh, there's more than my ego. What was the thought you had exactly? When you understand that you're not the ego, it's not a thought. It's a knowing. It's that ineffable idea. It's not even a feeling. It's sort of, it's hard to describe, but it's this kind of peace and knowing that is void of thought. It feels like a solidness to us, a quietness, a presence that makes everything clear. And so
Mhm.
that where you kind of realize that you're not your ego, there's this other force. And the thing is, that force is with you right now. It's here, it's listening,
May the
it's
force be with
present. It's
you.
just your ego's just covering it up, like and making a lot of noise where you can't really feel it and sense it. It's that kind of division or opening to allow yourself to hear that or feel I don't even know if it's hearing or feeling. It's just hard to describe. How would you
Knowing,
describe it? It's
like you
kind of a
said.
knowing. Yeah, it's a kind of like I know.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's
insight.
an experience. Yeah. My friends say I'm funny and that I should write a book about all my adventures, like Sophia Kinsella. I don't know who that is, but I'm sure she's funny too. I'm not good at writing. Some of my stories are dark and some are fun. I feel like it will free my soul to write about everyone that has
Mm.
impacted my life in a good and bad way, in a funny way. I don't even know where to begin. So it sounds like you want to write a memoir.
I would say just begin
Yes.
and trust. Don't worry about getting it right, getting it perfect. If people like it or they don't like,
Mhm.
just start. That will lead you to your next step, and it's an incredible thing. There's something like Goethe said that there's a magic in being bold and starting something.
Mhm. And he also said that when you step into something, that resources and people and opportunities will show up that you couldn't see before you made that step. So remember that when you commit to something and you're committed to that vision, you can't see all the things that are going to happen, the people that come in, the abundance that you're going to have. You can't see that right now, but you have to take that step anyway. You have to basically step off and into that void and know that and trust that there's something going to catch you, and that something is your true self. There's nowhere to fall. There's nowhere. Your ego will tell you, oh, it's so scary and everything's going to fall apart. But what happens is the things that fall apart are the misunderstandings and the wrong assumptions about who you are. And what's going to replace it is potential and pure potential. And really, from a scientific perspective, that's who we really are. So yeah, and I would also recommend what I did is I joined a writing group. And so there's probably one in your town. Just start a writing group where you share your work and just like you said, take a small step, start writing and sharing your work. The big thing is sharing your work because that's really what holds people back. I wrote
Mm.
for years and didn't show anyone what I wrote. It was me and myself. But yeah, that sharing that work and being in that process, and then it's like almost like once you commit and step into it, it starts to gain momentum on its own. I am divorced a year ago after my spouse cheated and left for another woman whom I found was pregnant. This was very traumatic because my middle 14-year-old son with muscular dystrophy was going through heart failure and needed a
Mm.
transplant. At the same time, I find my way because my alimony runs out in 4 months. I'm working with disabled children in a CDC classroom and I love it, but I was able to support myself on this pay. I heard your canvas is your calling and have thought about being a trauma grief counselor. I'm afraid to make moves without knowing my vision or my calling. Fear of failure holds me back. And how do you move beyond the fear after an abuse or difficult past?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I was going to say that the vision doesn't have to be detailed. It doesn't, you don't have to know all the steps to get there or how because my vision was I'm going to be famous, I'm going to have books, I'm going to be teaching, but I didn't think, okay, every little step of the way, how I was going to accomplish that. It's that holding that vision, the steps start to fall into place. As you take the little steps, the next step shows itself to you. So you don't have to have the whole map yet.
Mm.
Vision. So your vision is that you love what you do. So get into that feeling. I love what I do. And I want you to accept that as you move toward what you want, there's going to be resistance, but don't let it stop you. Now, the things that have happened in your life with your relationship and with your child and then what you do for your work is so unique that you have probably so much empathy for people who go through that. And for by you going through it personally, you are an expert in helping others because you've gone through it. And so the first thing you need to do is like the oxygen mask, you put it on yourself first, and then you go out and you help others. But it doesn't mean you have to wait till everything, you have all the answers. You start by understanding yourself and why you know, what's going on in your mind, how you're coping with this, how can I help others? And then you continue to grow through that process. You use these setbacks or these really hard lessons in life to build courage and confidence. And it's so easy to be confident and have courage if everything in your life has been easy, right? It's like easy to believe, yeah, I'm so confident, like everything's rolled out for you, if everything. But a true courageous person is someone who's been through the fire like you and is still acting. And those are the people that inspire us. People that have it easy aren't very inspiring. People that, you know, were born with money and make more money, they're not inspiring to us. It's that those stories of challenge and tragedy and overcoming obstacles that really connect us. Like every time you see a movie, right, or hear about someone that inspires us, it's always like they've been through a tough time And it's not to use that sad story as a way to like revel in it, but it's really to use the story to say, hey, if this happened to you, don't let it stop you either. And you lift everyone up because you've been there. And only you have that message. And it's almost like if you don't do it, it's basically like you're like kind of like wasting a real talent, or you're I'm trying to think of the word. You're depriving people, the
Mm.
people that really need to hear what you have to teach, and really need what you have to say. You're depriving them of that. And so if you make that bigger than you, that vision, that's where really a higher vision is when you see that, you know, it's not just about me anymore. It's about everyone who's gone through this. And there's actually a beautiful Buddhist practice where you take this suffering that you've been through, you're using it to help everyone who's experienced this. And you're basically, it's on your shoulders, and you've gone through it already. So you're moving out of it so you can lift everyone up out of it too. Because a lot of people have tough lives and they need someone like you to give them hope. And so if that it's going to be tough to move through that. It's never easy, but if you look at it as an opportunity versus a curse, things will start to shift for you. Do you have anything else to add?
Well, she asked about working with fear, and
Yeah.
that's my specialty.
Oh.
The fear, for most of us, it feels like something we want to get rid of and we want to push away and step into that faith and that bravery. But that's not the approach. What you're going to do is you move towards that fear,
Mhm.
invite it in, open it up, ask it, what is the worst thing you can do for me or to me? Right? Because that fear is about, threatening you with something. As long as you keep running from it, as long as you avoid it, as long as you find ways to appease it and to keep it at bay, it'll have power over you. But when you face it and you invite it in and you realize that it's just a story that's arising from your conditioning from the
It's like a
past,
shadow on the wall, right? It's
yeah,
not really real.
then you absorb it. You use its energy now. The energy that it has been working against you now is yours to
Mm.
create. And it's a very, very powerful practice to invite that fear in. Of course, it takes courage, but you can do it if you're working in those situations that you've lived through these horrific events in your life and you've survived. You can definitely work with this fear.
And the lower two mindsets are where you're an ego, and the fear is always bigger than the ego. The ego uses fear as a, kind of barrier to anything you want. And when you're in that level 3, which is that clear mindedness and the clear vision, fear can't overcome that. Fear can't override that. It's almost like fear is there and you see it, but you don't let it stop you. And that's really the difference between people that get what they want and people that don't. Do you still use self-hypnosis sometimes? Well, self-hypnosis is visualization. And so, yes, we
Hmm.
use it. We just don't call it hypnosis anymore, because I think a lot of people think like self-hypnosis is a lot of like thinking positive and
Affirmations or so.
affirmations.
Yeah.
And the kind of visualizations we do now is really working with the deeper levels of the psyche and the deeper levels of the collective, and working with archetypes and working with the shadow parts of ourselves. So it's a little more advanced than just simple self-hypnosis. But yes, we use visualization, which is the same as self-hypnosis. It's all self-hypnosis. No one can hypnotize you, actually. Okay. I have a deep rooted belief that I'm not smart and that others are more deserving of
Hmm.
happiness, success. I avoid relationships with men, even friendships, because I feel somewhat inferior to others. These beliefs come from my childhood. When I was a child, my parents and teachers constantly compare me to others, telling me that I will never succeed and be someone that my siblings are better. I
Yeah.
am in my late 30s and act like a teenager. I get envious, jealous. I want to succeed and be happy and at peace, but it seems like it's so deep in me that I will never truly be happy.
Mhm. That's how it feels.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You're right. It feels like a brick wall,
Hmm.
basically. It's very solid. But when you understand the nature of the mind, if you simply ask a few simple questions, what are those thoughts made out of? You can say, well, they're memories,
Hmm.
because I have those memories of the things people told me and the things I experienced. Now, if you ask, what are memories made out of? They're thought, and what is thought made out of? It's a simple process, basically, and it has no real substance to it except the meaning that we ascribe to it.
Hmm.
So now you understand what we're working with. Now, we're not saying it's easy, but you understand that it's a story.
Hmm.
It's a narrative that the mind creates out of those past experiences, and we can definitely work with story.
Hmm.
It's very malleable.
What it is just reminding me when you're talking about the story, and when I used to work on limiting beliefs and those ideas, the downside of that is that we think the beliefs are something solid and material, and a lot of what I was taught back in the early personal development days, and maybe you're hearing from other coaches, is that you got to change those beliefs. And so what you're doing is, if you need to change them to be positive, what you're actually doing is making them real. They're making them more real, because you're saying, oh, that's a negative belief, I need to make it positive. You're actually giving it more energy. But if you say, oh, it's just a belief, it's not real, you don't have to do anything with it. It's like, oh, it's just a thought, like you said. And so the
Mhm.
more we believe in our thoughts, the more solid and real they become, and more we feel like they have weight in our life. The less we believe in those thoughts, of the ego, of the limitations, the less they can impact us. So it doesn't take a lot of heavy lifting. You don't have to clear them. You don't have to put light around them and heal them. You don't have to make them positive. What you want to do is you have to realize that you are not those thoughts, that there is another part of you that's beyond thought, that is unlimited. And that's really that place that we want to go. Because I think we get caught up in fixing those beliefs and thinking more positive. And I did that for many, many years. And that kept me really stuck, because we're really just shining up the ego, making the ego a little better, thinking a little more positive, but we're still working with that limited part of ourselves. And
Yeah,
so,
good point.
who would I believe? Who would I be without that idea? Like, what do I want to believe about myself? And why can't I just believe that? And it is a process. Again, it's not just one day you're going to say, I'm divine, and saying that to yourself and being positive, but that's a start, right? To start asking those questions. Beautiful. Can we still work with the exercises in your book? Yes, you can. Like I said, the book was written about 10 years ago, maybe even longer, maybe 7 years ago. It's my earlier work. It'll get you to, a good place. The work that we do now is a little deeper. So I invite you to explore the next level. But they'll definitely, people met their relationship, met love through that. The
Yeah.
exercises, or they're powerful. They work with the unconscious. The work that we do, the work in the book was really about just kind of shifting the thinking.
Mhm.
And the work we do now is about transcending that thought. So just another level. And it's a great place to start. So what do
And
you have to say?
we have a new book coming out,
Yes.
hopefully next year.
Yeah. And then next year we have a new book coming out with new level of work for the new visions for us. Okay. Okay, I think those are the rest of the questions. So great class, Rob.
Great questions. I loved it.
Yeah, it was a really great class. Thank
Sounds
you,
like
everyone,
great
for
people there.
participating, and we did a great job with the camera work today. we can
We're
be on a
learning.
separate cameras. We're learning.
So we hope, we definitely hope to do more of these video events,
Mhm.
so where we can
Helps us feel closer to you, even though we
be in your
can't see
living
you.
room. Yeah. So yeah, any last words?
Just again, think about your vision. Think about the vision that you want in your life, not what you think you can have, but what you really want. Check in all the time. How much do I believe this? 1 to 10. Am I on a 2 today? That means you're more in that level 1 thinking. Moving yourself to that higher level of having that clarity. And the way you do that is really understanding who you are. If you have a big mission and you really want to make a huge leap in your life this year, please join us for the Evolve program. It's a year-long program. You get two plus the bonus live events. You get 3 live events throughout the year. It's a group program. It's a very reasonable price for a group program for a year. You get Facebook access with us, 2 calls a month. So you get to ask us questions. It's a small group. It's not a huge, 1,000-person group and you're going to mixed in the shuffle. We're going to know each and every person in the group. You get 6 private sessions with our lead coach. And then we also have private coaching. If you're interested in private coaching with either me or Rob, we have applications available as well. All you need to do actually is you can reply to the reminder emails that you received from the calls and say, send me an application, and Lita, our business manager, will send you one. Or we will be sending a replay of this video and you'll be getting that. So if you're watching the replay, there'll be a link in the replay for you to apply. And I'd love to talk to you. There's no obligation to apply. It's really just for us to have a conversation about where you're at. The investment is 12 payments of $997, or you could pay in full for $9,000 until November 15th. And it comes with some bonuses, and really would love to talk to you about those and how you can be a part of this program. It's going to be fantastic and going to help you create that vision and make it a reality.
I would just like to say, wherever you're at, whatever place you're at in your vision and your mission in this life, think of it as an opportunity. And certainly if you're on this call, it's because life is calling you to do your bigger work, to step into that higher purpose in your life. And as long as you can see things as opportunities, you can start to grow and start to move towards that vision.
And also that nothing's wrong with what's happening right now. Like, look at your life right now, the status quo right now it's perfect. Nothing needs to be fixed. You're living a normal, regular life that ordinary, that's what most people are at, but there is a potential. So there's nothing wrong. There's nothing broken. It's just that there's more that you can have. And so if you approach your life that there's more versus I got to fix something and then I can have more, it's going to take a little longer. You're going to feel less motivated. But I want you to just look at your life and say, okay, this is what's up for me. Here's the cards that I was dealt. I'm going to make this beautiful into a house of cards that doesn't fall apart. Really beautiful creation for myself from here. So you all have the power to do this. And thank you again for joining us. And we'll do more calls and stay on our list. And again, let us know if we can do anything for you, if there's certain things that you'd like us to cover, and we'll be sure to cover them in our next calls.
See you soon.
Take care, everyone.
Take care. Much love.
Bye-bye.